Good evening, TNT family. We are fortunate tonight to have our Senator General David Nakhid here with us tonight after a hectic, long day in the Senate. In the Senate today, I deeply appreciate him taking the time to brief us what's taking place in the country. So, Senator Nakhid, can you update us on what really transpired in the Parliament during the Senate? With this amnesty, tax amnesty bill that the government is trying to bring forward. Because it seems like what I was picking up is like the Minister of Finance is trying to create some kind of loophole for his friends to get a break, and, and more so, so if you can enlighten us a little bit of what's really taking place with this bill.
Well, good evening to all your listeners, your viewers. My pleasure to be here with you once again. Well, it's a normal modus operandi of this government, especially of this Minister of Finance, where everything he wants to be in control of, and as you're very right, to the benefit of those friends, family, and financiers of the PNM. So here we have what is basically an amnesty bill, and where they're gonna again. I mean, I have been what almost 5 years now in the Senate, and every year the Minister of Finance comes and says the same thing. This is the last amnesty, the last amnesty, the last amnesty. While millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are being escaping the coffers, the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago, to the benefit of not the poor and working class man, but of course the people who have hundreds of millions of dollars that they should be paying in taxes, in taxes that are due. And of course, Imbut comes again, once again, to give his friends and his financiers that amnesty, as he has done before in previous years. And we were asking the questions. The debate was, explain to us why every year you come with the same tax amnesty, and what this government always fails to realize, this PNM government, is that they bypass the poor and working class man in such a way that you begin to believe it's not only deliberate policy on the part of PNM. It's so consistent and non-coincidental that it's a shame. This is tax. These are taxes that could help poor and working class businesses, that could help the small and medium enterprises, that could bring in, much needed revenue. But they don't do that. What they do, they come with property tax while giving amnesty to their financiers and their one percenters. They come with a property tax and taxing the poor and working class man who has saved and scrounged and really scrimp, as we say, done everything in his power of his meager earnings to own a property. And instead of going after commercial properties, they come and give it and do it on residential properties. And who's affected? The poor and working class man again. And this time, tax amnesty was no different. Now, what they did, if people notice in the debate, Imbut, afraid of a debate that belongs in a certain context. What the PNM does, they bring a bill and they constrict the bill in such a way that makes a whole and hearty debate almost impossible. So every minute he stands up on a standing order, irrelevance and so. Now, we know, of course, they have to have certain skills within Parliament to go past all these challenges and hurdles that the PNM throws up. But sometimes it gets to the point of the ridiculous, where a debate that could really bring home the point of this tax amnesty to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It gets to the point where no debate is possible. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the majority, are left scratching their heads, thinking, well, what's going on? So the parliament that is used that is basically used as a medium to relay government policy and government legislation to the people of Trinidad and Tobago is basically bypassed because of the PNM fears that the people realize that they never work in the interest of the poor and working class man. Never. All their policies are meant to benefit the 1% of Trinidad and Tobago, their friends and their financiers and their family. That's all. And that was made writ large. That was done writ large today in a way that was shameful. So we realized that we had to take a stand, and going from the lead of our leader of opposition business in the Senate, Wade Mark, we walked out of the Senate because they kept interrupting. At first, Senator Damian Lyder, they kept interrupting him, trying to disrupt him on relevance and all of that. And then they did it to Senator Dominic Smith. So we had, with Mark rightfully said, well, we've had enough of this farcical show, and we walked out of the Senate.
So, I mean, after the level of distress the government caused and some of the small businesses, especially, I think it's kind of heartless for them in the way that they are operating towards the small business in particular. Those that they basically wiped out, because of the restraint they put during the COVID lockdown. They locked down everything. They destroyed your fine. Some business closed. Some people went out of business. So I think there has to be some kind of consideration, and it always seems that they're creating loopholes for their friends to pass through while they oppress the small and ordinary people in the country. And this is what is really concerning to me about the way they're operating. Now, if you what I think should be done, the penalties for the tax should be removed and give you a payment plan and to make it a little bit easier. For those that are struggling business. There's some people who could pay, and then some people who refuse to pay, as we know, and who are able to pay. And those are the
Correct.
people that seems to be getting the biggest break in the country. That the government seems to be operating on making the rich richer while oppressing the ordinary man.
Well, it is certainly not a tax amnesty for the poor and working class man. If you look at the statistics, most time it's the poor and working class man who are the first people to pay their bills. Huh? I don't know if you know that. It's a lot of the rich people and big businesses who do not pay their bills. And I think this is one of those tax amnesties that the PNM has put in place to precisely benefit their big financiers. Elections are coming, and they would do anything to make sure that they can have access to their finances. We all know that's their ploy. But having said that, it's really, as you said, a strain on the poor and working class people of Trinidad and Tobago, small businesses, and listen, we can talk ad nauseum about how the PNM policies for the last 60 something years has been only to the benefit of their financiers, certain sections of certain communities within the country. I mean, that's borne out by the statistics. It's borne out by how dilapidated and damaged, decimated PNM constituencies are in every index, whether it be education, healthcare, social services. I mean, that's clear. It's clear to everyone now. The only thing we have to do is get ourselves in order as a people, and decide to take action. And like every other country in the world, what that's what they do. When a government has failed more than 75 to 80% of the population. I mean, who thrives in Trinidad? The financiers of the PNM, a certain black bourgeoisie class, a certain knife and fork Indian class on the East-West corridor. You know, we have to be real about it. These are the people who support PNM, and while the rest, our rural Indian population, our urban communities, and our communities in the constituencies along the East-West corridor are seriously struggling, and we have to call it out every time and all the time until our people realize that, you know, our people are waking up. They've realized that this government has done nothing but destroy the economy, destroy communities. Communities that used to be thriving communities are now marginalized, they are now ghettoized, pauperized, and our people have realized that, and they've begun to listen to the leader of the opposition and her policies. And I think, you know, after 9 years of virtuous sufferation at the hands of the PNM, I think people are finally fed up. You know, and Rowley keeps putting that final nail in his coffin. The last one being, of course, is ludicrous, outrageous, ridiculous statements concerning the increase in his salary. Where I think probably I would say the most dastardly, diabolical statement ever made in Trinidad and Tobago politics, where he said it does not matter if it's fair or not, those increases. Imagine that. Imagine a prime minister of a country where everything should be based on whether it's fair or not, says it does not matter if it's fair or not, the salary increases. I mean, I hope our people grasp the irony of that. I hope they grasp how diabolical that is. I hope they realize how evil this Keith Christopher Rowley is. That he will make a statement, that his gauge will be, his barometer would be his statement that sets the supposedly supposed to set the ideal, the ethos, would be it does not matter if it's fair or not. He says that about his
Senator
salary.
Nakhid, I'm losing your voice in and out a little bit. You know, but I would like to see the population make the demands just like how the Prime Minister makes his demand. I want my money and I want it now. I need to see the population do that. You know, and the other thing that concerns me is there seems to be a long history of companies either not paying the NIS or and taking NIS from employees. And when you go to try to collect on that as the years go and you retire, there is no NIS payment. Now, I hold the PNM wholly and solely responsible for monitoring this system because they were in government for most of the years of our independence. So I hold them personally responsible
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
that taking place where the NIS money is not making into the contribution and employers are allowed to get away with that. And most likely these employers are friends and associates of the PNM that get away to do what they want. You know, so
Absolutely.
this is something we do have to address that's really has taken place. I mean, I had people who had government jobs and the NIS contribution wasn't made. You know, they took the money was taken out. It happened to my father also. You know, where money taken from the 70s and coming up all the way up and all these jobs that he was doing, and when you go to find out about it, there's no contribution. So I first realized that with him, and then I heard a lot of people complain about that situation. This is something we really have to deal with also.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. I have encountered quite a few constituents who have complained to me that has happened. That the contributions were not made, but mostly, to be honest, and we have to be, employers, when they realize that they can face a lot of legal trouble, they usually hurry to pay those contributions that they did not make on behalf of the employees. But having said that, there should be a level of compliance without that happening. And I think that's what you mean by the government has, especially this PNM government, has not.
Compliance and enforcement,
Yes, they have not monitored and enforced what should be, mandatory on by the employers. So
Yeah,
yes,
who do our people turn to? Who do our people turn to? You're trying to make a complaint, you go around in circles trying to get anything done.
well, that's usually the case in Trinidad and Tobago. Unless you're a friend of the PNM, you usually can get things done. I mean, a simple task, whether at licensing or at when you go to collect your pension, is now a monumental task. People have been waiting for hours in the sun, and older people, our older population. I mean, let me put it this way: there's nothing that this PNM government has done right. And people might see that as hyperbole, but tell me what they have done right. And when you pose that question to anybody that tries to be open-minded, even if they are a PNM supporter, they can't answer you. There's nothing that is right now at present under this PNM government.
Well,
Nothing.
we've seen chaos upon chaos. I mean, in every angle. Look at what's happening with the police force, and I mean, we can't even get the police to show up in court. We have seen too many incidents of that. We've seen evidence destroyed to protect their
And
friends.
brother, that is something we must pay attention to. I've said for years, a major problem in us solving our social ills, our detection rate, our problems, our crime escalating, is because we have a lot of corrupt members of the police force, and people try to tiptoe through that line mine of dealing with that, but we have to be frontal when we speak about it. Our police force, although having a lot of hardworking, honest officers, we have a lot of corrupt officers within the police service. A lot. And that has been borne out by these cases that came up for extortion, for bribery, and what is even more appalling, although those were officers on the ground, it's the failure of the police hierarchy to prosecute those cases. So it's not just corruption at the lower end of the spectrum, but also at the higher end of the spectrum.
Failure on the supervision part of it. I mean, they
Yeah,
failed to
exactly.
manage. They failed to manage, and but this seems to be a customary culture that has been allowed to continue, and this is why we are where we are now.
Exactly. And I think we have to demand that accountability. I think the 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 ire of the people, when manifested, forces the government into action, and that's why they quickly um, reinstall those cases for the first seven. I think they realize that people have had enough, and the police service. If we cannot clean it up, if this government has failed and is failing to clean up the police service, we're gonna have a lot of police officers that are rogue, complicit with the criminal elements, and we're not gonna find swift justice for our people. And
Well,
that's the
Senator, we already have that going on where these police officers are involved with the criminal event. I mean, I've received a lot of complaints, and like people reach out to me because they figure I'm outside the country and they don't know who they can go to. And they try to reach out to me, hoping that I could lend a voice from my end because a lot of people are scared. We have criminal gangs threatening people boldfacedly, knowing that they have the police backing and that their house will get sprayed with bullets if they go and make any complaints. So there's a lot of people under duress because these criminals have the police supporting them on their activities, and this is something we really do upon taking government. We have a lot of hard work to do. We have a lot of mess to clean up. Upon taking government, we get fixing the management of the police force because we are spinning top in mud if we really don't fix the management of the police force. This culture cannot continue.
it cannot, and I think Rowley's apathy, uncaring attitude. I think the opposition leader was right when she said he's an old, greedy, lazy man. He's I will add to that he's the most uncaring, uncompassionate, not even as a prime minister, as a citizen. I mean, how if you put someone like Fitzgerald Hines in charge of national security, responsible for policy towards the police, although it's an in police service is in supposedly an independent office, of course, the commissioner of police. But when you do not give the necessary support and direction and so, and you put someone like Fitzgerald Hines, basically you are telling the people of Trinidad and Tobago you have to fend for yourselves because you have put the most incompetent, lazy, uh, duncy, unintelligent. I mean, there are not enough words. I mean, it's reached to the point where the PNM have begun to cannibalize themselves. They're eating themselves. Fitzgerald Hines is gone. And, and God help us, according to my uncles with Labantel West. According to, I mean, my uncle Rudolph Charles must be turning in his grave to know who who will follow Fitzgerald Hines is probably 10 times as worse. You know what I mean? People of Labantel West will not be happy. They were not happy with Fitzgerald Hines. They will not be happy with who follows Fitzgerald Hines because the PNM, I think they have gone past the expiry date by a mile. So I think all we can do is keep pushing, brother, and hoping that election is called soon, so the knees of the PNM are taking off the necks of our people.
Yeah, we just have to keep every little chance we do can to educate our people and hope that they make the right decision, based on the information that we give them. I mean, most we can do is bring the truth to them, let them know what our plan of action is, and then hope that they make the right decision. Because a lot
Absolutely,
of times,
absolutely.
I think the critical thing is getting the right information out there. And as we know, mainstream media in Trinidad will try to suppress all that critical information as
Correct,
usual. So we
correct.
definitely have to utilize this kind of platform. Senator Nakid, is there anything else you would like to add? Because I know you had a long day, and I don't want to hold you too long.
No,
But I know we,
I
we
would
can
just like
come
to
we can
add,
come back we can come
uh,
back and finish this. But I just wanted to give you a chance to say
yeah,
what you had to based on
brother.
what was happening.
You're right. We are all day in the Senate, but I'd like to really thank you for your work. Um, you're one of those fearless warriors. Always, you seem always available somehow. You know, always available and ready to help and share and we need warriors like that in order for us to try and turn this country around. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak to the people and to share my views what happened in the Senate today. And as I say to the people all the time, love in the house all the time, all the time. And take care, my
Uh,
brother.
Thank you very much, Senator Nakid, and looking forward to having you back again. And like I said, this channel is available to you and our colleagues and our soldiers on the ground in a moment's notice. If there's something taking place, we can go live right away. So thank you very
Thank you,
much.
brother.
And I want to thank our listening audience for joining us. Thank you and
Thank
good night,
you.
everyone.
Take care. Good night.